the
Creepy, Cryptic
podcast.
Hello everyone, it's Ron and Clancy back at it again, ready to dive into some creepy and cryptic stuff with you. This week's topic is a creature that isn't really spoken about all that often, the Flatwoods Monster. So it bridges the gap between something alien and a cryptid, because it seems to be something in between. Our main sources for today are episode 109 of Last Podcast on the Left and the website history.com.
So we're going to be trusting Henry Zabrowski as a serious source, huh?
Yes, well, more Marcus Parks. So the case itself takes place in the year 1952. It was one dusky evening, and a few boys were playing outside when they saw something streak across the sky. It apparently crashed near a farm close by, and the boys, of course, they hightailed it over there to take a peek at what had fallen to earth. They were closely followed by the mother of two of the boys and the dog of one of the boys. The group of youngsters climbed a hill up to where the landing site was and were terrified by what they saw, so much so that it was later reported that one of the boys peed his pants, which, kind of savage that they included that in the report. So
look at this little guy. He was so scared that he pissed himself, you know?
Exactly.
Really gives a good detail to that story. It makes it really legitimate.
Unnecessary, but whatever, it was included.
Do you think it was a way of them trying to be like, oh yeah, there's no way they'd make this up, there's no way he'd embarrass himself like that?
Maybe, probably that's what it was, that it didn't really say how old they were or their names or anything, or even how many. I couldn't find a source for how many boys there were exactly. But I think that's to maintain the anonymity of the children, because they're under 18, they're minors.
You think there'd be at least some information though about how many at least there was, or a rough age?
Well, I found some that said 4. I found some that said that there were 5. So because I did look up more sources than the 2 that I mentioned in the beginning, but I didn't really use the ones that weren't really fleshed out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the boys saw something terrifying. So something had crash landed, and they fled from the pit that had a large ball of flame and hurried back to the mother, and they all ran home. Apparently, there was also a really pungent smell in the air. But what exactly did they see? The description of the Flatwoods Monster is one of the strangest of all cryptids/aliens. The police and other agencies were called. According to a member of the National Guard who went to investigate, the creature had bright eyes. He saw a 10-foot-tall monster with a blood-red body and face. There was a dense mist when the National Guardsman, Gene Lemon was his name, was checking the area, so he couldn't be sure, but he thought he might have seen 2 razor-sharp claws as well.
So
Lemon.
Sorry. So it was a John Carpenter set, basically. Lots of fog and a creature running around.
And Gene Lemon, he became kind of the face of the whole thing, because he was contacted for an interview by CBS. So then because he was a National Guardsman, everyone took him pretty seriously. According to other sightings, the head was shaped like an ace of spades or an upside-down heart, and it also wore a strange metallic skirt that was, and this is a quote, green in nature. A week after the incident, the creature was spotted again, apparently, and accosted a mother and her daughter on the side of the road. Of course, this whole rigmarole made the local news, but was then also picked up by national radio stations and larger newspapers across the country. The National Guard, police, and even the local newspaper publisher all believed something strange had occurred. the last actually opting to march up the hill with a shotgun to where the pit was, where the crash took place. However, it wasn't like that with everyone. When the state police found out about the whole thing, they just brushed it off and thought it was hysteria. So based on the description that we have, that's why I kind of said it was like part cryptid, because it's got like the glowing eyes and the razor sharp claws, but also kind of alien because of the metallic skirt and that type of thing.
Yeah, it definitely sounds kind of like somebody took like a mishmash. Like what year was this again?
This was in 1952.
Okay, so it's very, like, to me, screams like 50s B horror, like alien invasion movie, trash bag costumes and like flying hubcaps on fishing line type thing.
Absolutely. And we'll get to that actually in a minute. So I'll get into the explanations of what people saw. There are a few different explanations that are often offered when it comes to the Flatwoods Monster. The first and most common is that a certain chain of events lined up and happened to take place in quick succession. That is, that an asteroid fell to Earth, which then kicked up smoke and flames. Then when people went to investigate, they saw an owl sitting up in a tree, and that's what the eyes and claws were. So the general idea is that people were so amped up and believed they were going to see something, so they did. It's important to note as well that, like you said, the zeitgeist at the time, aliens were all the rage, which may have had an influence on the description of the creature or the expectation of seeing something there. Another explanation that sometimes comes up is that the Flatwoods, West Virginia, the area where this all took place, is a mining town, and that mining sometimes produces fumes. So some people put forward that the mining fumes caused a sort of mass hallucination coupled with the asteroid strike.
Kind of like a gas leak, like in an old house.
Yeah,
all of a sudden
similar
seeing ghosts
idea.
out of nowhere.
Yeah. So that's kind of the general vibe, is that something might have actually crashed, they think, but that with all of the hubbub afterwards, that it kind of brewed up this story that maybe wasn't fully accurate. So in conclusion, the Flatwoods Monster is definitely an interesting case. That everything I covered is more or less just top to bottom what happened. I highly recommend listening to the last podcast on the left episode that I mentioned earlier, where they discussed this and several other cryptids. There is a Flatwoods Monster Museum over in Braxton County, West Virginia. Admission to the museum is free, and they have all kinds of souvenirs that you can get your paws on. So we've taken a look into something that may have been a cryptid, may have been an alien, or maybe could have been a little bit of both, or it could have been fumes, or an asteroid strike, or a combination of different things.
So basically, it could have been anything.
Yeah, it could have been anything. It's like a cool story, and like it's an interesting description. Like, I've never heard of a creature or a monster described with like the ace of spades shaped head. Like that really stands out.
It very
to
much
me.
gives me vibes of like Man-Thing from Marvel Comics.
Yeah, kind of. It kind of sounds like that a little bit.
Yeah.
Like that to me, I don't know why, but that detail just sticks out. Like the shape of the head. Like, I don't know.
It's
what
very
it is.
specific.
It is very specific. Like, it's an odd detail to like make up, and I find that it's an odd detail that other people would have latched onto and like corroborated.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's about it for this time, friends. Join us again in 2 weeks when Ron will be presenting another creepy and cryptic subject for us to dive into.
Great. And if you want to follow us on social media, you can find us on Facebook at the Creepy Cryptic Podcast. Or if you want to submit ideas or reach out to us in any way, you can reach out to us with our email, thecreepycrypticpodcast@gmail.com. And we would love to hear from you. We'd love to get more reviews, help the show grow. And if you know anybody who would enjoy this type of stuff, share it with them.
Absolutely. And let us know if there's interest out there, if you'd be interested in us getting a Google voicemail where you can leave us a message and chime in on different topics or tell us your own stories.
Absolutely. That'd be really cool. Until next time, we will talk to you soon.
Well, thanks so much, everyone. Bye.